everyone, I'm Brittney, and welcome to Season 2 of the Reclusive Blogger Interviews. For episode 1, I sat down with Americana artist Nathan Gray. We chatted about his upcoming tour with his band Nathan Gray and the Iron Roses, his decades-long career in industry sustainability, and his recent collaborations with McIlrath and Frank Turner. We also talked about his latest release, Rebel Songs, and so much more. We are recording in a little bit. It's got a countdown going.
Okay.
And my first question is, how are you doing today? So let's start out with that.
If we can start out there, sure. I'm doing pretty well. I just, I'm actually feeling great because I got my booster recently. And so for the past couple of days, I felt horrible. But today, stellar, feeling great.
Yeah, I got my booster shot I think it was it was like a couple weeks ago. I don't think it's been a month. And those first few days were really, really rough for me.
Yeah. It was a rough couple of days. It wasn't as bad as the second shot that I got, but it seems to have lasted longer. Like the effects. So
for me, it was each shot just kept getting worse, and I was just like
oh no.
I was just like not handling this too well, but
right.
It's I know COVID is worse, so
sure. Yeah.
It's lesser of two evils.
Right. But it doesn't make it any more fun. It's just,
no. I guess my next question is, let's talk about your start in music. How did you get started making music, and was it always in your life?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was always in my life. I can remember back when I was like 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there, going through my parents' record collection. At that time, it was a lot of old folk music, Bob Dylan, Simon and Garfunkel, and a lot of old musicals like Man of La Mancha and Les Mis, things of that nature. But I was very interested in music at that time and going through it. And I think my first foray into actually playing music, though, was in high school, probably like 10th grade, just getting together with friends and seeing what noises we can make. I figure when you're listening to punk rock, you're like, oh, well, anybody can do that, right?
Yeah. What were what were the bands that kind of shaped your listening when you were like first forming those when you were playing as a teen?
Definitely the Clash and the Ramones were two huge ones. I mean, it's hard to be in a punk band and not have those two influences. You know what I mean? So those were the big ones.
I guess my next, because you mentioned that when you were like around 7 or 8, you were really, that was kind of your first intro to music. What do you have, like a specific music memory that you kind of can hone in on that was really big for you?
I have several, but I think the first time I heard Simon and Garfunkel was a big thing for me, like the harmonies and the melody to it. And I think, honestly, that really stuck with me through getting into punk rock. And I wasn't really interested in bands that weren't also a little catchy. You know what I mean? If they didn't have those harmonies and that hooky chorus, I was like, I don't care about this, which is exactly why I got into the Ramones and the Clash. They were, they had that raw edge to them, but at the same time, there was a melody. It caught you, but also at the same time, first hearing some of those early musicals like West Side Story or Man of La Mancha, and the emotion behind the songs was huge for me. And that really left a mark on how I write music.
I guess my next question would be, I guess we can move on to your album right now. Let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
the album. Um, when you were writing Rebel songs, did your was the songwriting different, or was it the same as you normally go into songwriting?
It a lot of it was the same, just because you get sort of stuck in doing things a certain way. But past sort of the setup of doing an album, it was vastly different. I had done a couple of albums before this solo wise. And when I got into Rebel Songs, it was really time for me to expand what I was doing. And so having that melodic punk sensibility and that thing that I do all the time, I was like, what can I bring into this that's going to differentiate it from all the other stuff out there? And I think besides the message that I was bringing on this album, I think there's also, I experimented with a lot, with reggae, with hip hop, with styles of music that I've never put on anything in my life. And it took a lot of, obviously I've always appreciated this music, but it's never been something I've tried to do. So when you get into that, there's a lot of research to be done. And not only that, but you find other people who are hip hop artists, reggae artists, people who know the music. And I would send them what I was doing and go, hey, make sure I don't sound like an idiot. All right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and just tell me if I'm not doing it right, then I won't do it. You know what I mean? But I got a positive feedback from all of my friends, and they're like, no, this sounds great. You're doing it right. Keep going. Cool. That's all I need to hear, And so it was there, for a solo artist, it was a very communal effort of bouncing ideas off of friends and having them help me in that writing process to bring in all these other forms of not only politically based music, but joyful music that's very positive and uplifting, while at the same time pointing out inadequacies in the system that we live in.
Would you say that I know that you also have Voice Sets Fire. Would you say that your songwriting process is different when you work on that project?
It's very different from that, because I think with Voice Sets Fire, it was more of a band atmosphere to where it's like a democracy. You know what I mean? Everybody has to put in a little bit to every song. Not one person writes a song and not one person gets their way, which is sort of why I went solo, because I got sick of that process. It was like, look, I have songs that I want to be exactly how I want them. And I can't do that within that setting. So starting something just called Nathan Gray, there you go. It all starts and ends with my name. So I get to say what's what.
And in terms of when you were, in terms of the lyrics, do you think there's a specific lyric from the album that you think is most timely for right now?
Let me think. I think that I love playing this song live, and I think that when I get to this part of the song, it creates a vibe, an atmosphere for the whole set. And it is in the song Rebel Songs. The music's not a product you sell. It's a reason to believe. It's a movement to save yourself. And I think that really sets the atmosphere for this album. No matter what I'm talking about, whether it's personal issues, political issues, social, and let's be honest, the personal's political, the political's personal. It's all interwoven. But when you state that your art isn't a product, it's not a McDonald's cheeseburger. You know what I mean? It's something important. It's something that we all share together. That makes those political topics and those social topics so much more meaningful and so much more personal to people.
You mentioned being when you're playing live shows. I know you have a 2022 tour coming up. in February and March. What are you most
Yeah.
excited about?
I would say I'm most excited about getting out on the road with a full band because I just did a tour with Frank Turner in the US, but we had to cut it to just a couple people and more acoustic like. So it's going to be nice to get out with a full band, drums and everything, like really powering through these songs instead of doing acoustic versions of them. But I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, just being out and playing music in front of other human beings is just, there's nothing like it. So it's it'll be very, very nice no matter what to just get that done.
To kind of go on what you were saying when you mentioned that prior you were playing the songs more acoustically, was there much that you had to do when rearranging the songs?
Oh yeah.
In terms of how was that process like?
It was interesting because also we didn't have a lot of time. When Frank got in touch with me, it was about a couple weeks before the tour was starting. He actually had a support act already for it, and they dropped off the tour. So it was like last minute notice. Hey, can you do it? And can you do it acoustic? And sure, why not? Let's try it. You know, so getting together and trying to even imagine what that looks like. And what it ended up being was an acoustic guitar and another friend on electric guitar with playing with effects. And we played very loosely with the term acoustic, you know, and and it was really fun to do because when we got up there, we presented the same energy as if the whole band were there, jumping around, throwing the mic stand around, just acting like lunatics and having a great time. And I think that is, I think what actually really helped us on that tour to get people to pay attention to what we were doing is that they saw that we were an acoustic act, but we weren't just standing there like playing an acoustic guitar and singing sweet songs. There was a message behind it, there was a mission behind it, and there was a real joy behind what we do.
What was it like sharing, opening up and sharing the stage with Frank Turner?
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. It's he is what I gave a speech almost every night about, you know, it's sharing how awesome Frank was with his fans, you know, because I think sometimes fans get a little scared, and I do myself, of who that person really is. You know what I mean? Because we've all unfortunately met those people who did not live up to what they said, you know? And it's like, and you have such high hopes, and then you meet them and go, oh no. And I've even opened up shows where like I have to be very careful about what I'm saying because the headliner isn't actually the greatest person in the world. And I don't really want to support them, but you know, we're playing a show. So it was cool to be on a stage, to be able to announce the headliner and be really excited about it and be happy that the message this person was putting out to the world and was real. And then to see, like, Frank Turner fans are incredible. Like, they blow me away. Like, they're just so dedicated and so there's something different about a Frank Turner audience. It's amazing to see. And to know that there's a reason why they're so committed to it, you know, and that it makes sense, you know what I mean? And that I can share in that experience and go, you're right, he's awesome, you know, like.
Yeah, since we were on tour, do you have any tour must-haves?
Lots of water. I know that's it. It's funny, like, but it's true. Like, it's the most important thing that you can have on tour. And coffee, but mostly water.
Yeah, you have to stay hydrated, especially if you're singing a lot.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing that'll kill your voice. Number one, drinking lots of water, and number two, honestly, staying away from alcohol as much as possible. Getting drunk and stupid, it's the first thing that will also just annihilate your voice and will keep you from putting on a proper show.
I guess my next question would be, I would like to talk about you working with the producer Brian Mc. I want to get his name right. I don't want to say it wrong. McTernan or
Yeah.
McTiernan? I don't want.
No,
Okay,
McTernan.
yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, McTernan.
Yep. It was awesome. It's funny because I have known his brother for a very long time. And he played in a band called Damnation. And Boy Set Fire played shows with them. And I've just known him through the scene for a very long time. But I had never met Brian, which is weird because he produced a bunch of albums. I know I should have met him, but never did. And it was sort of funny to sit in the studio with him and talk about that. Like, we've all been part of the same scene and crossing paths for so long. It's weird that we never met up. But on top of that, being able to be in the studio with someone like Brian and someone as knowledgeable as he is, while also having that connection through the roots that we have. So he's got this incredible pedigree, you know what I mean, of like all these huge bands that he's produced, but at the same time, he gets what I'm trying to do. So when we got into a room, there was no argument or issue. It was just, I would do what I want to do. And at the same time, if he had something to say and like, hey, you should do this, try this chord, try this, I could trust where he was coming from because he knew what I was trying to do. And it was the perfect match. And I couldn't see working with anyone else in the future.
It was more like a collaboration rather than a producer coming in saying like, you should do this, and there's
correct.
My answer is the only answer. That was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. He came in as another part of the band, and it worked out so perfectly.
Since you mentioned the band, that was a question I wanted to ask earlier. How did you put your band together? I thought the whole way that you work with the band that you are coming up, that you were going to work with for the tour, I like that. That was really cool.
Awesome. So when I got everyone together, there's a lot that needs to go into putting a band together. And I think that, I mean, for me, obviously not everybody follows this type of thing, but I with the message that I put forth, if I do not show that in the band that I bring on the road, I'm sort of full of shit, at the end of the day. So, when you have songs about being inclusive and you have certain songs about certain topics, you better show that in your own life. So bringing people into the band that were not white, that were not male, that were not cisgendered, that, was an important part. And I went out actively trying to find people that would fit with the message that I was giving out. And not only that, but it was very important to me to sit down with each of these people and point out exactly how we were to behave as a band on the road. I've been on the road for a very long time, and I've seen bands act poorly, and I've seen bands act well. And I want to be a band that acts well, and so to sit down with members in the band and be like, look, we are here for music. We're here to play music. We're not here to get drunk. We're not here to hook up. We're not here to do stupid things like this. This is what we're here to do. And not only that, but sort of get ahead of issues that, basically lay it out for people in a band, because we've seen so many things go wrong where people have been sexually assaulted by band members, things of that nature, or to that point, sitting down with band members and say, look, this is how this works. If any of this happens, you get left on the side of the road. You know what I mean? This is not a joke. This is not okay. We do not treat our fans this way. We do not treat our friends this way. And this will immediately get you ousted. I will not protect you from any of this. If someone comes forward and says something about you, done. So it's important to set those rules, set those guidelines within a band, I think. Not only just to express diversity, but also to let people know that they are worth protecting. My audience is here because of me. You know, they've been following me for a very long time. So if I betray them in any way with the people that I bring on the road, if they do not represent what I'm putting out there, then I've messed up, and that's my fault.
Yeah, that I like that. That was a really good answer.
Thank you.
You're fostering a safe community for not only your fans but the people that you hire. So
yeah, and it's important
some,
not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Like, no, I was just gonna say I've heard some really bad horror stories from not only people that go on tour, but just from people that are photographers like myself, because I also do photography. And it's just kind of sad that in today's world, 2021, that we still have to work on things like this.
Yeah, it's very true. And it should be something that we all get ahead of. You know, like I'm saying, it shouldn't be something that you find out on the road. You know what I mean? That someone in your band is doing something shady. This should be something that is a set rule right up front, that this will not be tolerated. I think that, and you know, I think also there's something to be said for having people in the band that don't look like me, for other people who come to these shows who don't look like me. Maybe, you know, we speak on these very personal and deep issues that sometimes people want to come up and talk to us about that. And maybe they don't feel comfortable talking to me about it. Maybe they find someone to talk to in my band that they know might more identify with them. And that's important. If you're creating music that you want to create a mission with, that you want people to identify with, then bring people with you that people can identify with, where they can feel safe and they can feel respected and they can feel heard.
And also using your platform to just bring on, as you were saying, all types of people, and to elevate all types of people who normally may not get those opportunities because they're at a disadvantage for whatever reason.
Yes, absolutely.
I guess my next question is, how did you get the collaboration going with Rise Against Tim McIllrath? Because that, I really like that song.
Yeah. It was cool because so way back in the day, like in 2001, it's funny that that's way back in the day now, but 2001, Boys That's Fire went on tour, and the opening band for this big tour was Rise Against. No one knew who they were. They're this tiny little band that like people barely watched them. It was funny because like, and I've known Tim since then. Like, and it was really cool to watch them go from like a little punk band nobody knew who they were to playing arenas out of nowhere, you know. So when I wrote Rebel Songs, I was thinking about doing a collaboration with someone, and I was like, I think Tim would be perfect for this, you know. But I knew they were in the process of getting Nowhere Generation out. And I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't bother him with it, but I'm gonna. So I called him up and asked him if he'd be willing to do it. And he did. And to his credit, he did everything in his power to work around all the stuff he had going on to make this happen. And that has been a real cool, it's been a blessing to meet people like, well, not just meet, but to know people like Tim or Frank for so many years, and to have them do cool things like that for me, you know what I mean? To like, to sort of, I don't know, to help out when they don't have to, you know what I mean? Like people like that don't need to help me. You know, they've got enough on their plate. They've got enough going on, and they're huge and making plenty of money and doing their thing. But for them to do that because it's special to them, it's meaningful to them, that it means the world. So it's just great.
How did the music video, how'd you get the music video? How did that come to fruition?
Which one?
Oh, the one with Tim.
Oh, with Tim. Sorry. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Right. Um, so it was. I went to Knoxville, Tennessee, with two of the guys that helped me with this album, Gene and Derek, and they shot my part of it. And then
Mhm,
we sent sort of a template to Tim, and he had a friend up in Chicago help
mhm,
shoot his stuff. And then their creative minds, however they do it, just put it all
mhm,
together, you know? So
mhm,
whether it was him, and Brian helped me with sending out the music to him so he could, it's such a jumbled mess when you're trying to do something like that.
mhm,
But it worked out great because I have a great team and they're always willing to help and help me do things that I don't quite understand how they work. So
mhm.
that's how that works.
Yeah, I thought that that was cool how they were able to kind of work that one out because
Yeah.
it was probably filmed during pandemic, right?
Yeah. And it
Okay.
was like, okay, find an alley that looks sort of like this one and walk down it singing. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
And yeah, it was difficult, and you had to find um, people like the people who were dancing in it and all that stuff. Like get
mhm,
everybody tested, get everybody, you know what I mean? Like make sure
mhm,
everybody's had their vaccine, yada yada. And so it's difficult, but it's doable. You know.
mhm. I guess I'd like to ask a few kind of like fun questions.
Okay.
Uh, uh, what's your favorite podcast or playlist that you're listening to right now?
Oh, that's a hard one because I don't normally listen to many podcasts, to be honest. I
Okay.
sort of come across them here and there, but the issue and the issue is not that, like, I get people will send me podcasts all the time, like, hey, you should check this one out, or you should
Mhm,
listen to this playlist or something like that. And I am so just like crazy ADD all over the place
mhm.
that I can never sit through anything, even if I'm enjoying it and I'm constantly moving. So every time I try to go and listen to something, it's like, oh, now I have to do this. Oh, I forgot. Wait, I'm listening to something. Wait, no, I got to do this. Like, so I get very distracted very easily, and so
Mhm.
it's very hard for me to concentrate on something like that.
Okay. I well then I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like a top album or song from this year?
Oh, from this year,
Uh-huh.
let me think. I think that I might have to check to see. No, it's definitely from this year, but I would say I don't want to pick one song. I want to pick an
Mhm.
artist, and it's not even one album. And I don't know if you've heard of this guy, but Toby Nwigwe
Mm-mm. Have
is
not.
please look him up. He has changed the complete game. It's insane. Like he he and his family. He's a hip hop artist, and he and his family have just reimagined the whole game. Like I'm not even sure. Like, there's some albums, I guess, but they're like sort of cut up EPs here and there. If you look on
Mhm.
Apple, but if you go onto Instagram and just explore Toby Nwigwe, like the
Mhm.
music is incredible. His message is incredible, and the positivity. And when you go in there and you see the millions of people that follow this guy and realize he did every single bit of this on his own, it's
Wow.
all DIY. It's all on his own. Like, it blows me away on a daily basis that
Wow.
him and and I don't even want to say just him and his family created this brand around what he
Wow.
does that has just exploded. And you'll see, like, he just did a tour and did some concerts, and it's just
Mhm.
a sea of people. Blows me away every time, but he deserves every minute of it. The hard work that they put in on this, and his music is just stellar. It's next level, brilliant.
Okay, I have to check that. I have to check him
It's
out. That's crazy.
TOBENWIGWE, I believe.
Okay, I mean, I'm typing that.
Nwigwe.
N W I G. Okay, I got it.
Okay, cool. So that would be my artist of 2021. Like, just phenomenal, and was a very big influence on me when I was writing Rebel songs with a lot of the hip hop stuff that I was doing. It was very influenced by what he does.
Okay, that's the first time I've been stumped on an artist in like some of my interviews I've been doing. So a lot of times I know a lot of the artists that they mentioned, but that's probably been the first time. Let's see. If you got a chance to write a song based off a piece of pop culture, what would you choose and why?
I have to figure out what I know of pop culture as a 49-year-old man. It's I would be shocked if I knew anything about pop culture right now. I think the only thing that I know about anything probably comes from my kids, like playing video games or whatever, or watching things on YouTube. And even then, I don't completely understand any of it, which is fine. You know what I mean? I find that a lot of times if I don't get it, I just go, that's just something not meant for me, you know, and I move on. Honestly, I would be bent to try to figure out what even is pop culture right now. I'm not even sure I know.
Well, I guess it could be something from from, it doesn't matter what year, I guess. So it can be anything.
Cool. Well, then I'd end up dating myself. Back in my day.
Well, I'm not as young as I look, so sometimes a lot of this stuff today I'm like I don't understand it. So
right.
It took me a while to get TikTok, so I still don't completely understand it.
I still don't understand TikTok. I don't get it at all.
So I'm just like, okay.
Right. And I can't imagine like something in pop culture that I would write a song about, because the thing is that if you write something positive about pop culture, it's a little weird. But it's also, if you write something negative about it, it's also a little suspect, because you sound like that like cranky old man yelling at a cloud. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to hear your take on pop culture. You know what I mean? At my age, like, honestly, no one wants to hear me acting like the, hey kids, me too, or have me sound like the guy that's going, get off my lawn. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
I guess my last questions would be, last time you felt like a kid.
And the last time I felt like a kid, it would have to be getting on stage. Every time getting up on that stage, like, I mean, I love recording, you know what I mean? But there is nothing like getting on a stage in front of people, whether it's 500 or 5 people, it doesn't matter. Getting up on a stage in front of people and proving yourself, you know what I mean? Like getting up there and going, this is me, this is what I do, like it or not, here I am, is when I feel like a kid. I lose like 20 years. Like I just like the energy comes back, the drive, the joy, it's just, I feel like a kid again. And it's a brilliant feeling every time.
And I guess my last question, because I don't want to take up too much of your time today. I actually don't know how long I have, but
you have as much time as you need.
Okay. What's next on the horizon for you?
Next on the horizon, well, obviously my tour in February and March that I'll be doing in the US. But also I will be doing, I have a couple of shows coming up now. So this Friday is the record release for Rebel Songs. And I'm doing an online set. It's an acoustic online set that'll be very comparable to what I did on the Frank Turner tour. That people can still, if they want to go buy a ticket for it, you still can on my Instagram or Facebook. But I'll be playing Friday, doing that. And then on the 20th and the 21st, I'll be playing live shows in New York and Boston with a band called Piebald. And that'll be it for this year. And then next year, I'll just be full on pushing this album as hard as I feasibly can. Because as you may know, releasing an album in December, mid-December, is sort of suicide. You know, this was supposed to come out in November. So it wasn't supposed to happen like this. So it's put me in a really tight spot this year. But I really feel that if I kick open the gates in January, I really think I can redeem this. And that's what I'm really going to be shooting for, is just pushing this as hard as I feasibly can.
Okay, it was great talking to you and everything.
You too. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And to that point that I was saying, having interviews like this and having people care about talking to me is part of that whole process of getting people alerted to what I do. And I thank you so much for doing that for me.
Oh, no, you were really fun to talk to. It was great hearing about all the different sides of music and everything. Good luck with the album and everything. And I will let you know when this drops and everything.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of the day.
You as well. Take care.
Take care too.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi guys, it's Brittney here. If you're anything like me and were a bit hesitant or unsure of where or how to start a podcast, then Anchor is the best way to go. I got my podcast up and running in no time. And Anchor provides everything you need in one place. All you need to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All the tools, as I said before, are in the app or online, including recording, which you can do on the go. Anchor will even distribute your podcast, and yes, you can even monetize. So if you're looking for a good place to start, then download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started and get your idea off the ground.
Thanks for listening to the first episode of Season 2, and I'd like to thank Nathan for taking the time out, particularly since it was around the holidays. And stay tuned for more fascinating conversations and music.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you in the next episode.